Hey everyone, we are headed to the shop right now. We're working on the truck today. I've been a little bit behind on keeping up with maintenance on this thing. It's way past due for oil change. We're going to be trying to install a catalytic converter delete kit from Jegs because the catalytic converters on this truck are burnt out. And then top of the list of priorities is doing a fuel pump. This one's getting a little bit weak, so I want to swap it out before it completely shits the bed. Stay tuned. Yeah, we're gonna get our hands dirty today, boys. Okay, so we've got the catalytic converter delete kit here from Jegs. This is specifically for the OBS Suburbans, and then here we have fuel pump from eBay. So we're throwing this in. This is the most important, so we gotta do this first. We're gonna have to lift the truck up and take two straps off. They do send you an extra little pigtail in case you break the one in there. You can splice it in here. So yeah, let's go ahead and get the truck in the air and get the fuel tank down. So I want to preface this. A lot of you guys probably don't have one of these at home, but I have one at my disposal, so I'm going to use it for getting this fuel tank out because it's going to make my life a lot easier.
Okay, what is it?
This is basically it's an air table or an air jack with a big platform. These are actually made for doing hybrid batteries and stuff like that, but because I have access to one, obviously you can do motors, transmissions, whatever you want with it. It's basically just a big table with a scissor lift under it that's powered by air. It's pretty cool.
What do you mean?
Jesus. Trying the bolt out so it's open fuel tank. That's mustard. Well, that's my good problem. We may or may not have to cut that because GM couldn't use that fucking. How am I gonna do this? Just have to cut it.
What you doing?
I'm trying to get that. It's like a clip type of nut that holds it in, and of course it broke. So now I just spin. That side came out real nice. So I think. I wonder if I get a die grinder in there. I really want to. I could probably get a die. Maybe get a die grinder in here. I don't really want to cut next to a fuel tank. Something like that. Yeah, I think we'll just have to cut it and put a new. Did you get water on you? Did you get all wet? So I think what we'll do is we'll definitely cut that.
What are we cutting?
We're cutting this bolt here.
Okay.
So I can get this strap off. So I can get the tank out. So we broke this off the old pump, but yeah, what do you do? But basically we got to disconnect one more, and then the one in the middle is capped off. So
how long did this take you?
I've been doing this for an hour now, and then you use one of these, which use these little fuel line disconnects. You put it around, you click it in there, and then you pull the line off. Yeah. Just gotta do the other one now. And get my. Probably just gonna end up breaking the second one off, but. Why don't I make the fucking top on metal?
What's going on here?
I'm just gonna clean it off. This junk. I probably should just take fucking and spray it off. That's what locks into these little tabs here. So you just kind of got to separate it. And I don't think this is supposed to be in two pieces, but somebody might have broke it last time they did it, so we're just going to very gently... No, that might be the way it goes. Anyway, this little snap ring is what holds the pump in place. And then you can also... Sharpie, you would want to mark the orientation of the pump, kind of, but I guess you just kind of see in relation. If this wasn't all full of fuel and brake clean, that would actually stick, but that way you know which way. You can kind of see I made 2 lines here to make sure that's the way the pump. This is actually capped off, and the new pump has a cap on it, but I took the old one off because it was broke. And there's 2 separate plugs here. One's going to be for the pump, one's going to be for the setting unit. And then once we get this, get that off, should be able to very, very carefully pry the pump up a little bit to get it out. And then there should be an O-ring, just a little piece. And there we go. Now it just pops up. It's actually spring-loaded in there, which is kind of interesting. That's a lot more fuel than I thought it was going to be. And so, our O-ring is what sits in that little groove in here. Kind of see here, it's going to be pretty tricky to get this up and out. Kind of just gotta slowly but surely tip it, and then that's going to be our level sensor, and there's the old pump. Looks like a generic brand, so I've done once before, and then you want to really carefully clean all that junk. So I'm gonna go get a couple napkins and clean all this out, make sure it doesn't fall in the tank. Obviously, some of it's gonna fall in the tank, but it should be alright. And then we'll do a fuel filter too.
I don't think you have enough. I think you need some more.
Kind of just make sure that the majority of this doesn't fall in the tank, because our O-ring is going to sit inside of there. So just want to make sure that it's clean, and actually you can get it damp with a little bit of brake clean. And just kind of wipe off the inside edge. Let's see all that shit in there.
I did grab the rest of the napkins for you too.
I see that. It's probably gonna be good now. And then you can kind of see here. See our level sensor and how that fucker works. So we're gonna have to clip it in, but you can see plug style. So the new pump this guy. That's our little level. Just want to match it up here. So this one's a little different, but kind of see this one's a different shape essentially. So basically it's going to go in like that, and this level sensor is a different style. This is probably more of the what the original would be, but this one looks like an updated style. Everything's the same. Looks like this is the tube that sucks it up. This one's a little bit different here, straighter. Still got that same spring retention, and it's got a different plug style though. So it looks like we'll have to splice that in maybe. Have to see. That's probably why they... So that must be for the sending it. So click that in. It'll stay here. Which looks like it won't, so I should lay it down. But we might have to put a new...
What we looking at?
So we have to put in a different plug style. So this should be able to tell us which wires go where. Blah blah blah. Love instructions. No, it's not going to tell me which color. And then I got you fucking bastard. That's the same. But it's these are just fucking... It's gonna say exposed in fuel. This is from here. I think this is the time. I've been doing some troubleshooting and wiring, and I've gotten it figured out. So when they were building these trucks, there's two different style plugs. There's a flat 4-pin, and then there's a square style 4-pin. Now, of course, when you buy these kits, luckily this is labeled A, B, C, D. Not actually, but they're labeled with letters. This is not labeled, however, so what I did is I went online and looked up what the flat 4 would be in relation to a square 4. And when you look up service information like that, it's labeled correctly, or it's labeled A, B, C, D in a flat succession. So essentially what I did, I can actually bring it up on my phone here. So this would be what each is supposed to go. So on this pump, this plug is actually flipped 180 degrees, but all I did is take the letter A from the new one and plug it into purple. I took the B on the new plug and plugged it into gray, and now you'll see both of these are black. This ground is a larger gauge wire than the sensor return. So what you have to do is take C goes to, it should say large black, and then D goes to small black, because purple is your fuel gauge sensor signal, the gray is the motor feed or the power to the motor, the large black, which is C, is your ground for the pump, and then D, which is small black, is your sensor signal return. So got it all installed here, and then on the old pump, so the large, and I broke these off when I was taking it apart, but the large valley here, the large pipe, is feed, and F actually stands for front, so it would sit in the tank like this. And then the small is return or rear for either of these. So this can be feed, return, or it can be front, rear. I'm assuming that it's actually supposed to be feed and return, but on the new pump, the larger gauge is in the back and the smaller gauge is in the front. So the pipe that I have coming from the truck here, this is a larger gauge, this one here, this is a larger gauge than this one down here, which is this one coming down here. This is your return. So this will go into the small, and then this one will go into the large. So it's kind of confusing. I think if I were going to do this again, I would just buy a flat style pump, and the eBay listing shows that the new one is supposed to be the flat style pump. It is not. So I should probably, I don't know, the pump is only 60 bucks. If you buy an AC Delco pump, it's like 200 bucks. So we are going to wrap up our wires, reinstall everything, and then we do need to replace one bolt for this tank strap, and then we're done. Okay, we're done. Yay. That was an experience. What we've learned here today is always verify your parts are the correct part. I'm so happy. I'm just happy it's done. Everything runs good. The gauge works perfect. It starts up right away. So yeah, all we got to do was the fuel pump. We're gonna have to do the converter delete kit in a different video, because that's gonna be a whole separate ordeal itself. But that'll be an exciting video. That'll kind of free up the exhaust of this truck a little bit, get it to run a little bit better and more efficient. And yeah, so stay tuned for that video, guys. Thanks for watching. As always, check me out on my Thoughts of a Gearhead podcast on Spotify and other podcasting apps. And check me out on Instagram. Thanks, guys.